We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino, but playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour, but online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Dude, that's Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show.
Smylie, who would have thought, man? We are back. We are all the way back. We are at T-Bones in Augusta, Georgia for the second straight year. This is a momentous occasion for many reasons. The first is that this is the first recurring host of a Smylie show at a major championship. How's it feel to be back?
Well, now when we show up, it feels like we're coming down Magnolia Lane. This is like our own Magnolia Lane here at T-Bones. And this
might be Magnolia Lane Light right back here. And you may or may not see a number of cars driving throughout the entirety of the show.
You know, I was just sitting here thinking, this is year 2, and I'm just forecasting 8 years into the future where we're year 10 into this whole thing. And there's going to be a crowd. People are going to be out watching. It's going to be live. And we're going to laugh back at this time where we got 2 buddies out back here watching. We got Jax.
Right, we have a crowd.
Shout out to some friends back there. So, yeah, I mean, it's Augusta National. It's the Masters. This is our big show. And let's get right into it, man. I'm excited.
We have so much to unpack. That's of course tournament golf related, but also that's just developments in I guess the greater Masters content sphere. The place we got to start is we've been here for 2 days, and somehow you've made a merch run, and I have not made a merch run. I'm being called the gnome guy. Smiley's introduced me to people as the gnome guy, and yet you got merch before I got merch this year.
All right, if you guess the dollar amount within $50, I will order fireball shots.
Okay. Do I get to know how many people you were shopping for? Was it just your family?
This was the question.
All right.
Yes, family.
Just your family.
Yeah, just family. And my family. Yeah.
What do you mean your family? Your parents? Lucky? Was there anyone in there for Lucky?
Yeah, they were involved.
Oh, well, that changes the math. All right, I'm going to say 925. Did I get it?
So close.
Fireball shots.
When you originally said that 8, I was like, oh my gosh, we're about to have to do this. It was 8:15.
8:15.
You were about to say 8 something. What were you about to say?
I was thinking about 8:50, and then I went 925.
Oh my God, that would have
done it. That's a tough scene, but that's pretty good. That's like,
a lot of it's Christmas. Don't judge me. It's a big number. I know.
No, that's what people do. Like, I mean, that's actually getting out pretty light.
I got a good hat. I'm not normally like a big Augusta National hat guy when I get in there. I actually typically stray away from getting a hat. But this one caught my eye, and it's like not too poofy, you know? Like the poof isn't quite as bad.
It really suits you. I can't wait to get in there. Yeah, like if we were playing Price is Right, Augusta National Edition, I might be the best player at that in the entire world.
It took me 30 to 35 minutes to get into the merch thing. I finally get in there.
Tuesday's a tough day.
And so all the kids like girl stuff, it really just, I don't know, wasn't doing it for me. So I eventually made the play to not go with the dress, and I see this sweater, and I knew it wasn't going to fit her, but I thought, you know what, she'll wear something kind of big in a sweater, so I went that route instead of like trying to guess right on the dress. And got a puzzle, got a deck of cards, and kind of just like clothes.
I can't wait to get in there to shop for Walker and for baby girl Katic. I actually need to get your notes on girl dad stuff. Like there's some nice bows. Walker is Augusta's his favorite logo. It's the only logo he can correctly identify. He sleeps on an Augusta blanket every night. So I'm just gonna just deck him out in some polos. But let me tell you, Smylie, the reason why I haven't merged it is because I was out there being a Big J journalist. I got, for a moment, I got addicted to asking questions in press conferences.
Is that kind of intimidating, that whole thing?
You know, I think it was for a while, and I think today I decided to face my fears, and then once I dove in, it was like, you know, it's like
karaoke.
Surfing or something.
Now you're like, put your name back in for the next song.
Yeah, let me do another one. How
many times did you script the question out in your head for the first question?
You really gotta kind of like say in your head like 5 or 6 times. You want to make sure you hit that. And then the hardest one is like, if someone snipes your question, you have to be ready to go with the backup. Yeah. I actually, I was asking Scotty Scheffler a question today. I had one loaded up. I was in the queue, and I was gonna ask about something he said in the Every Hole at Augusta National video. Mm-hmm. And so he's in there, and he kind of sounds stuffy. Scotty does a little bit. And so, you know, Jimmy Roberts, like legendary broadcaster. So he's sitting next to me, and he goes like, hey, you know, do you think he sounds sick? Right as the Augusta National member's like, Charlie. And I'm like, oh, Scotty, like, and trying to find my question. So Jimmy Roberts is in the middle of bumping me and asking me, do we think Scotty Scheffler is sick? And I'm about to tell him, I think it's like everyone else this time of year. It's probably just pollen and rain. And then I get called on for my question. But I got it off, though. It was good. It was good. I asked Scotty 2 questions, had a couple for Ludwig. I got shut out on Bryson. It was kind of a bummer. I was really excited.
What were you going to ask him?
I was going to ask him about the impact of content creation on his psyche on the golf course. It was like a really good rehearsed question I had in my brain.
Okay. Rehearse it. Go.
Yeah. Well, it's gone now. I had a notepad in front of me. I can't do it anymore. But, I mean, so I think we can... Look, we can get into my Big J journalism. We can get into, you know, individual players, which we should, talk about some odds. But here's where we got to start, Smylie. And it's once again with our good friends at Ahead, who, as we told you on our last show, we're looking forward to them presenting analysis of each of these events, of each of these golf courses, of each of these player-caddy relationships for the months to come. So we're super excited about that. So this is, I think we might have used this segment before, but we're going to do a reintroduction, a debut of the Think, Plan, Move segment. And that segment's going to be about analyzing the golf course ahead, how you can think about it, how you can, you know, plan for it. And so Ahead is just yeah, dude, this is a tough scene for us, dude. So Ahead is a strategic partner for enterprise clients, helping them navigate the path toward digital transformation. Much like an expert caddy, reading the course ahead and providing the winning combination of technology and execution. Ahead takes end-to-end accountability with their comprehensive blend of strategic consulting and transformation services, and takes a bias toward action, helping clients achieve more with less. Learn more at ahead.com.
Bada bing, bada boom.
So, the Think, Plan, Move segment. We're talking about a course, Augusta National, that's changed considerably in this last year. Hurricane Helene came through, it, you know, did a lot of damage, lost a lot of trees. We have that to talk about, and a number of players were asked about that in their press conference the past couple days, and gave their opinions on lines of sight, things like that. We also have the more immediate impacts of the weather. We had rain all day Monday. It looks like we have rain on Friday. So where are you right now in terms of, you know, the way the course is playing, both in the short term and just in the long term, you know, with these trees being gone?
Everything that I'd heard about the golf course coming in was that it's as firm and as good a shape as it's ever been in. That was before yesterday, where it literally rained the entire day. It didn't stop. It was, I bet they probably got 3 or so inches. I don't know if you have a number, but that's kind of what we were guessing last night, just based off how much rain it felt like we got. As far as like how it affected the golf course today, of course it was softer. And talking with a couple players, they said it's as slow as they've ever seen the golf course play from a green perspective that they've ever seen. So when you take that into consideration, you're like, okay, how fast can they get this golf course firm? And how can you get golf courses firm? Well, typically you need dry weather, you need wind, and you definitely need really good summer air, which guess what? Augusta National's got a lot of good irrigation. So you know that they're going to be doing everything from their side to be able to suck all the moisture out. But the green speeds being this slow on a Tuesday, it kind of just makes you think, how fast can they actually get them for a Thursday? Are we going to see kind of a bunch of leaderboards on Thursday with some lower scores? I think that's possible. And then when you talk about the trees, I thought it was really interesting in the press conference today. John Rahm, I thought had probably one of the best quotes, and you were there. You could probably give the quote the best.
Yeah, well, I had to laugh because he said that someone had asked him about, tree removal, and obviously a lot of people are talking about the left side of 10, just the way those sidelines are different. And he said an unnamed player suggested to him that you could take a high cut over the cabins on the left side of 10, just cut it back in over the tops of those trees into the right to left shade pull. And John said, there's just no way. And so if John Rahm can't do it, I'll take his word. I don't think anybody who likes to work the golf ball left or right can achieve that feat.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion and launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smylie Show, only on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, so I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
These guys are barreling everything right now that are hitting well. Pitching is usually ahead of hitting this time of year, but torpedo bats is what we're reading about, Tom, and I think it's hilarious.
Will the pitching be out in front, or are the bats actually this strong? So it's going to develop over the course of weeks. And again, if all teams have the ability to do so, be creative with it and get out there and use it.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
After every round, you guys were still up in each other's face, mouthing off before you went back to your corners, trying to get not just the last punch, but the last word. What was the move between you guys? Obviously, you're in there for your fright.
It didn't cut him. It didn't stunt him. A point wasn't taken away. There's no reason to even mention something like that. You're in a brawl. Things are happening. Accidents happen.
Only on SportsGrid.
It was catastrophic what happened to this whole area. Driving around, it's insane. Just every street you go down, the amount of trees that you can see that have been cut in half or just are scarce in some areas. And how it affects the golf course. Well, I think sight lines and targets are going to be maybe a little bit different than normal. There might be some things that stick out for players. Like the 10th hole, you can really see a TV tower that really wasn't there before.
Yes.
Then now it's going to be a sight line for a guy. So just hearing that, it definitely makes you think from a player side, there's going to be it'll be a little different, and maybe guys might catch a break or two with a little less trees. And I think one of some of the trees that are the most iconic are when you're sitting on top of the hill at 15 and you know, you always just see those trees behind the green that are right at 16. Those trees are gone. So it's just going to look a little different on TV this year, I think.
Do you think it favors a certain type of player? Because I was talking to Paul Uggetti of ESPN about this, where maybe there's a world in which if the course is softer than it plays normal, does that favor a guy that's an incredible iron player, a good ball striker, like a Colin Morikawa, like a Will Zalatoris, who can hit it really close and not have to worry as much about, you know, a ton of wind or firmness like we've seen in past years, and then it kind of negates, you know, if you're an above average putter for the week, you can win the tournament.
Yeah, and I think one of the, like, to answer your question, Augusta National is all about experience. Can first timers win here? It's been done before. Does it mean that first timer can't compete? It was proven untrue last year with Ludwig Oberg. So this course is all about how you score on the par fives. Like, if you go out and play the par fives even par, very few guys have won the golf tournament doing that. I think Danny Willett was the only guy to play the par fives even or worse and still win the golf tournament, which we don't talk about 2016. I don't even know why I brought it up. So one of my favorite guys to really see on Twitter, as far as just different ways to look at how this, you know, these players are going to compete on this place. Ron Kloss does a really good job on Twitter with really good information.
That PGA Splits 101.
And I think his takeaways are really, really solid. Just saying that the course experience matters, of course. A long shot winner is improbable. So those two things we've already just talked about. Recent winning experience is significant. So we could talk about that here in a moment with some of these top players. An elite putter is not required. I think that's a really good tidbit, because you don't have to be a great putter to win this tournament. What you need to be good at is being a very good lag putter.
Yeah.
You know, not three putting, but also being very good inside of 10 feet. And you're going to have so many putts inside of 6 to 8 feet for birdie on par fives, and then also those same putts on par fours and par threes for par that you're going to have to make. Obviously, you're playing on a lot of different elevation, as far as a lot of different lies, something that's probably not talked about enough when it comes to Augusta National, is being very creative, and that's why guys like Jordan Spieth, we talked to Ben Crenshaw the other day, super creative players. And then the last part, it's a bomber's paradise, and I tend to agree there with, you know, you can find a Ben Crenshaw, or not a Ben Crenshaw, but a Bryson DeChambeau. Sorry, I've had the bees going. But I think that's a good starting list of, you know, what it takes to compete at Augusta National.
Dylan DeChair asked this question of Nikolai Højgaard today, and I don't know if he was quoting, I think he was quoting last year's stats, or you know, I don't know, it's probably last year, not all time, but just saying that the par 4 scoring average was like 4.2 and the par 5 scoring average was 4.6. And post to Nikolai, was just saying, like, it's very obvious where you have to do your work on this golf course.
Yeah.
I thought that was even interesting, watching that Scotty Every Hole video, where you're looking at his lifetime score to par, and you keep going through par 4s, and it's like even, over par. And then you get to one of the par 5s, and it's 20 under. It's like, well, it's very clear what his formula was, and it's worked twice.
It's risk that you have to take on certain holes. You know that the first hole, like, there's only a one pin there that you can ever really feel like you can make a birdie to. The rest of the time you're playing for par. Where 2, you have to make a birdie. 3, you have to play it aggressively. I think so many players used to lay up on the 3rd hole. Now you see that the data says it doesn't matter. Push it up. If you can clear the bunkers off the tee, hit driver, push it up, and your best chance of hitting the green is going to be from closer to the hole. And there's other instances of this golf course, but you know, at some point you're gonna have to stand up and hit a shot on a Sunday. But for the most part, you just need to babysit yourself, not get yourself into trouble. Make sure you avoid double bogeys, take care of the par 5s, and you know, understand where you have to play aggressive on this course.
So let's start digging into the favorites in this tournament. We'll just start right at the top of the board. Scotty Scheffler on DraftKings Sportsbook right now, is outright odds to win are plus 400 or 4-1. Here's my Big J journalist report. Asked him a question, as mentioned, was almost interrupted by Jimmy Roberts, about his insistence throughout that entire video of every hole that, you know, being in the fairway was the most important thing. And he kind of talked about how as you graduate further and further away from the fairway, you still have chances to score, but he thought it's very fair in that, like, it's, you know, the best place scores from the fairway, then the next place is the first cut and the second cut, so on and so forth. You get in the woods.
You know, first cut's not an issue here, you know?
Right.
Like, it's not, there's not a ton of it. It's not really a part of the storyline. This place is, you know, it's wide enough to where fairways should be, guys should hit 10 fairways around.
The other Big J journalist question I asked is confirming that Bennett, his son Bennett, is a size 12 to 18, and that he will not be doing any merchandising on Bennett's behalf. Meredith will take care of all that this week. So that's my other question I asked. So let's talk about Scotty. If we're
can you imagine just Scotty just being in the merch tent, just being like everybody else, so in line, just
where are the gnomes?
That would be shocking. Yeah. Being in there, like if any player was walking around, you would think to yourself, man, this is the Masters. Nobody's got privileges out here.
It wouldn't shock me for a guy like Scotty to be in there doing his own merchandise shopping, but he very much not something he wants to do. Yeah, no. The other thing was he sounded a little stuffy, and he was asked a number of times if he was sick. He assured everyone it was just some sort of a allergy situation.
Pollen allergies here.
So it sounds like he's in a pretty, was asked a number of times about comparisons to Rory. I felt like all of his answers were pretty well measured, standard Scotty, nothing crazy to see there. Where do you feel like his game is at this year, where we know what he's capable of and he maybe hasn't lived up to that? He was even asked about that, and he said, he gave an example of in Houston where the 62 he shot, he was like, I had a lot of work to do after that round. The next day I only shot 1 or 2 under par, and I felt like it was pretty complete. It's like, I think it's just, he's got all the tools there, and he's obviously the same player he was, just kind of clicking into place, getting the right brace, and winning a golf tournament.
Well, I thought the most important thing he said today, and if you're, trying to make an assumption of can Scotty win this golf tournament, I thought the most important thing he said in his interview is, this is the most prepared I've been for an event this entire year. So when you hear that, you think to yourself, okay, Scotty Scheffler's going to be near the top of the leaderboard, not worried about him playing poorly.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They won the game, and a lot of people, I think, are, prematurely writing them off. Like, I heard a lot of people say they're not even making the playoffs this year.
What I give them credit for right now, Scott, I'm not going to pencil them to win the division yet. Let's see how they do. What I give the Red Sox credit for, and this sounds like silly, I give them credit for actually trying this year.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion and launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smylie Show.
What does that do for his legacy, having won 3 majors very quickly out of the gate, but they're all Masters? He hasn't really diversified in other major. Like, if he ends up down the road with 10 majors, but 6 of them are Augusta National, what do you make of his legacy at that point?
Well, I guess there's no guarantee that he'll ever win another major, but you feel like with how good he is, he's going to have so many opportunities to win so many more majors. And I think if he gets a 3rd Masters, we always look at this event in a different light of how many green jackets a player has.
Yeah.
When you think about Jack Nicklaus's 6 green jackets, it just feels like such a large number, right? And if he gets to 3, man, this quick, and in 3 out of 4 years, it's, it's probably not being talked about enough.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, dude. We just had a dope Chevy work truck pull up, and it's got all the trimmings, all the lights. I'm loving the ambiance.
We got extra lighting right now, don't we?
I am loving everything about what's happening right now. It's actually it's a shame. It's a kind of a cold night out here, as you can see. We're a little bundled up. There's a lot of action going on inside T-Bones right now.
Shout out T-Bones.
Yeah, shout out T-Bones, man. This place has been a great host, and we're looking forward to continuing to come back.
This isn't an ad, but it's an ad.
It's not.
We
It's
love
not an ad.
T-Bones.
We just love T-Bones, and I can't wait to wrap this up so we can get inside and hang with those boys in there. Rory McIlroy going off at plus 650, 6.5 to 1. I did not make it to his presser in time. I thought I made it on time. I was a little bit late. I thought he had some interesting thoughts about just his psyche after losing big events and just being accepting of that sort of state of mind, not getting too high or too low. You know, I think there's been a lot made of every year Rory comes to Augusta National, just this huge burden we place on him. Some years he's leaning into it and he's so honored to be here. It's a place he wants to play the rest of his life. Other years he's changed his routine. He's showing up late. He doesn't want to talk to anyone about it. It's felt like he was really bearing the weight of not having won. But I did feel like there was a sort of sense of calm today, or a sense of just acceptance of where he's
that's a good point.
as he makes it here.
I think it's natural for the media to kind of overblow the Rory thing every single year, chasing a Grand Slam at the Masters, and we always talk about that hook at the 10th hole like it was yesterday. It was so long ago. He's a completely different player today than he was however many years ago that was. What year was that? I mean, it was 2000.
Yeah. It was like 14 years. Yeah,
10? I don't know what it was.
We're not a golf history pod, apparently. In Colin Morikawa's press conference today, I believe it was Doug Ferguson asked Colin like a series of trivia questions, like, "Hey, do you know who won the 1986 Masters?"
2011.
2011.
Okay, that was in 2011. We're right in the middle. 2008, 2014.
So he asked Colin whether he knew who won the 1986 Masters, and Colin was like, come on. I don't really know, but I was in there. I was trying to look at all the years that Jack Nicklaus won it, like the 72, 76, all these. I think he had some of the years wrong. They're like, 1986, like his most famous win of all time. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that was a fun deal. I mean,
just to get back to your answer, or the question with Rory. I couldn't agree with you more. I think acceptance is the great place to start. I think his mental makeup heading into the week is probably the most important part of Rory showing up and whether he'll be able to compete or not. The physical tools are there. I think when he plays poorly here, it's much more of a mental battle. Like today, even watching, he didn't have a swing instructor on the range. He's got Bob Rotella there, trying to have the right mental frame of mind. And the other thing you mentioned is like he's watching Bridgerton with his wife Erica, and he's also reading a novel right now.
Had a great question about a novel.
And if anybody is reading a novel and watching a show, they're pretty like lax.
They're pretty chill.
I think anybody can kind of relate to that. Not saying that this means like he feels amazing about his game, but I mean, one of the stats I just talked about was heading into the Masters is, have you won? What's your form? And guess what? We've talked about this. Rory McIlroy's been the best player in the world this year. If you're taking your own OWGR 2025, Rory McIlroy, I think, would be the favorite. And so, with all that being said, I think we look back to that 2011 year too much. He's competed here plenty of times, and I think the last piece I'll say is that he referenced back to 2019 and says that after that major season, in a year in which he actually won the FedEx Cup, he won 4 times, he mentioned that I didn't play well in the majors that year, and I just didn't put enough emphasis on it as much as I should have. And he said, if you look back at my major record since 2019, you would see that the major record was really, really good. I know he hasn't won yet, but he's put himself in contention a lot. So when you hear Rory say that those sorts of things, and you hear he's kind of relaxed, the mental makeup seems to be there, gosh, I'm buying into the storyline with Rory this week.
I think it's.
Is this guy's car light's ever going to go off?
I don't think this guy's car light's ever going to go off. I'm actually curious if.
Let's give it a minute or two, because then we might have to say, hey, you need to turn your lights off.
Well, yeah. I mean, his battery might die.
It's a battery night,
unless he's got like the best battery of all time, which this would be another excellent unpaid commercial for Chevrolet. At the rate they're going. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, he's got a set of powerful lights.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, so I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, we need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
I'm still optimistic eventually this will happen and they'll get it together. I mean, if Florida can get their act together, Sam, with the Tribes, I believe that California can too.
Would bring a lot of money to the Tribes, which is also something they really care about. It's an $8 billion market. Conservatively, it could be even more when it legalizes. The sports books would be sharing revenue with the Tribes, essentially doing all their operations and forking over a percentage directly to the Tribes.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
After every round, you guys were still up in each other's face, mouthing off before you went back to your corners, trying to get not just the last punch, but the last word. What was the mood between you guys? Obviously, you're in there for your fright.
It didn't cut him. It didn't stunt him. A point wasn't taken away. There's no reason to even mention something like that. You're in a brawl. Things are happening. Accidents happen.
Only on SportsGrid.
I'm ready to buy into the Rory McIlroy hype a little bit this year. I think more so just because it seems like of all the years he's arrived here, this is the most accepting he is of where he's at in his total situation. And to your point, he's in great form. He's playing great golf. He did have a great girl dad question at the end of the interview.
Dad,
so
are you
good.
famous?
Yeah.
How expensive you ask?
Bobby's just starting to learn that her dad's famous thanks to the kids at her school asking about the Players Championship. So let's go next to
push-up contest going back.
Is there a push-up contest behind us?
We were hula hooping a couple years ago.
Yeah, Smylie hula hoop.
Push-up here.
It was amazing. The next player on my list on the DraftKings Sportsbook, John Rahm going off 13-1, and this is one that I do not know how to make sense of because we talked about his major year, 3 of the 4 majors pretty forgettable last year, but then comes out of the wrong wave. In the Open Championship and still finishes T7, and you were having trouble focusing on John Rahm's major performance
ripping
last year
push-ups behind us.
because you were more focused on a guy doing push-ups behind us.
How many has he done, Jax?
Okay.
Is that like he's on 25 right now?
And he's hopping off the ground. I mean, this is truly impressive stuff.
Mackerel. With that being said, with John Rahm, I got something for you.
This is what you get at T-Bones. You get every piece of the Augusta nightlife. You get a little bit of John Rahm talk, major season talk, but you also get a little bit of push-ups in the background.
Hey, Jackson, we have Taco Bell in the frame.
We don't
man,
talk
that's a
about the
shame.
frame. Yeah.
Because that would have really tied it all in.
That really brought the whole thing together. We might end up there later this week.
Well, I got something for you on Rahm.
Yeah, please.
So the 2 takeaways from his press conference today. He really would say that last year, the major season, he feels like he was judged unfairly. I tend to disagree. That was the one thing we were always going to judge him on was, does the LIV Golf Tour prepare you to play in majors?
Still never finished outside the top 10 on the LIV event.
So that's what he did say. He said, I pride myself on consistency, and I feel like I've been very consistent on the LIV Golf Tour. I think he's only won one time where we felt like he was going to win a lot more than that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Even, I don't know. We're not a golf history pod. But with that being said, I thought the most interesting question that was asked today with John Rahm was, do you know where you rank in the official world golf rankings right now? He's like, have I dropped out of the top 100 yet? You could tell he's like very bothered by not being relevant. Yeah. Relevant in the fact that people don't talk to him in the same vein that we talk about Scotty Scheffler, that we talk about Rory. It's just, we just don't talk about John Rahm. And I think it bothers him. I really do. Yeah. And I think he's looking to make a statement this week. He's obviously he considers himself a top 10 player in the world. He said it today. You can't disagree with it. I think he's a top 5 talent in the world. Will we see him have a really good major season? I think we will. The one thing I know I've said this multiple times, I think Doral being the week before Augusta National is going to bode well for the Live guys this year. That's a very, very tough golf course. They don't typically play very difficult courses. And I really feel wrong car. I was
hoping that guy was going to that car.
But I really do feel like that he's going to the Live guys will have decent weeks because that is a PGA Tour proven very difficult golf course that I think prepares you maybe for Augusta.
Yeah, I think so too. I love also that as you were just scaling up the final, part of the ladder that was the point you were making on Jon Rahm and Doral, we were just really hoping that guy was going to open up the truck with the big lights. And instead, he was opening up another pickup truck. So on we go, on we soldier with the lights on us. This is, we are back on the Smylie Show. As you might have noticed, we not only do we get the lights turned off on the Chevrolet pickup truck, we got a nice little conversation off camera with the gentleman who did. And he kicked over some beers and he took them, and we gave him maybe the best futures bets of all time.
That's right.
So, I mean, if those hit, I'm going to be keeping an eye on that one the rest of the week. Actually, it's a perfect segue because I want to transition to another guy who I heard speak today. He was the 4th shortest odds on this board. Colin Morikawa going off at 17-1. Colin Morikawa was heated in the press conference today. He came in with some fire.
I didn't get a chance to watch it, so
it was the second question was about the whole "I don't know you anything" quotes.
Yeah, we don't need to get into the media thing.
Well, no, not that I want to get into it, but it was just you could tell that he'd been thinking about it, and he brought like a fire to that entire press conference. So I asked him about just his play since the 23 Zozo and playing as good as you could play without winning a tournament. And just, do you feel like there's a burden there? Do you feel like you're due? And I think he had a great answer about just, I'm playing great golf. I just have to get the right breaks, and you just keep trusting that process. You're not going to give up. And I did ask him, does anyone, have you played here for 6 years? This will be your 6th time playing. Does anyone ever ask you for advice? You played pretty well here. And he's like, no one ever asked me for advice. And I was like, that's a shame. Like, what would you give them if someone did ask? He's like, I'm not going to say it right here. I was like, let's go.
Spicy.
All of that made me love him way more. And I loved he brought like a character to show this.
We've had him on the podcast.
He's great.
He's so confident. And that's easily the one thing that sticks out when you talk to him for an hour is that he believes in himself. And there's a reason why he's a top 5 player in the world. And for Colin this week, I think a lot of people like him, and I'm hearing rumors that the guy next to me might take him in one and done. Will see.
We'll see when we get there. But yeah, I just thought, I think that's a great point. He shows up with a lot of confidence. He's first tee to green this year. I mean, I think that if it's depends on how the course ends up playing, but I mean, it seems like the way it's setting up right now is all the things Colin Morikawa is very, very good at should suit the way the course will play this week. Yeah. And he's due.
Nobody's due.
Well, I mean, he's due. He's due. I mean, nobody's due.
Nobody's owed anything.
Nobody's due, but like
the only thing you're owed is a pimento cheese sandwich. That is it.
with potato chips on it.
Okay.
I'm really trying to make that happen.
Crunch.
Let's talk Xander Schauffele, 18-1.
Okay.
This is a guy that Jackson and I were talking about this. It's like, is he flying too far under the radar right now, or is it fair to give him some space because of the rib
He's
injury?
in a sweet spot right now. He is completely under the radar.
It's crazy, right?
For a 2-time major winner in the last year.
It's insane.
I think this week, the one thing that Xander said that really struck me was that he believes that he can win the golf tournament. Mm-hmm. And I know that he's a top player in the world, and I know that's something that he knows he can win a green jacket. But still, it's been a hard year for him. He didn't play till Bay Hill with the rib injury, and then all the way up until now. I thought the iron game was great in Tampa, and you need an iron game here this week.
Yeah, he plays great here. Historically, he's played great here all the time. And he had a couple really cool answers I liked this week, but there was one that was really good about how there's nothing better than contending in a big tournament or a major championship. Even if you don't win, he's like the thrill of coming down the stretch, everyone being in the mix, duking it out with some of the biggest names. He says it brings him joy like nothing else. And I was like, man, it's just cool to hear him, and not that anyone else doesn't feel that way, but to hear a guy verbalize like the thrill he gets out of something
I just think this is going to be such a good Masters. I think it's going to be a bunched up leaderboard. I don't see this being like a 2-horse race where it's like this huge separation with 2 top guys. I see a very, very packed leaderboard where a ton of action can happen on Amen Corner, the 15th hole.
Yeah.
This will be a very, very enjoyable Masters to watch with a lot of guys with a chance to win. I say that in very well a guy could run away, but I just get the sense that it's going to be a really fantastic Masters.
2 more names I want to throw at you before we kind of spin this a little bit forward as a preview show and give you some picks. We're going to give you maybe some DFS. We're going to bring back an old tradition, DFS lineup. But the second to last name I want to talk to you about that's at the top of this board, Bryson DeChambeau going off at 19-1 on DraftKings Sportsbook. I was in that press conference today. I love this guy so much. I mean, he's just like the science, the things he's talking about, the way he thinks about the game of golf, the way he likes to be involved in testing and tech and all these things. And just his enthusiasm, however you perceive that for, growth of the game and passing on to the next generation. He just delights me. I love having him around for majors. We don't see a lot of him during the year. Played well here last year. Obviously won a major last year. I think the form on Live, as far as I can tell, hasn't been, like top of the league good. Do you feel like he's sitting maybe a little bit undervalued here, given that he seems to show up big time for majors?
I don't think Bryson will ever be undervalued. And the reason why I say that is he's got so many dang fans out there, right? Bryson has fair. He's never going to not be in the spotlight because he's so relevant in the game of golf through social media, whether you watch him on Live or not. I mean, it's hard not to see Bryson every other day on social.
What an impressive debut it was for Mackenzie Gore of the Washington Nationals. He ended up having the most strikeouts of anybody thus far in a Major League Baseball game this season. Buy or sell, George? Mackenzie Gore will be a top 15 fantasy baseball pitcher this season. Top 15. Buy or sell?
These questions are made up by Sam Yarnell, our producer, man behind the glass here. Who's a Washington Nationals fan here? You ever get the feeling that he just made this where you have to say buy, all right? Because top 15? Yeah, I think he'll be top 15. Come on, Sam, make it top 10. Make it a little bit more interesting. Maybe even top 5. I think he's got the upside to be that. Once again, he is a good pitcher anyway. Once a top prospect here, you're pitching in a good pitcher's ballpark here. I think the upside is there for him to be much better than top 15. Top 5 may be pushing it, but I think he'll be inside the top 10. So yes, I am all on board the Mackenzie Gore train.
All right, yeah, I think that I am going to buy this too, man. I don't know. He's just, and again, it's not just that one start for me. I think I have the video somewhere. I was like literally sitting behind home plate for one of his starts in Palm Beach, and I was like, wow, like this guy's stuff looks really, really good. I'm going to buy it too. I think he's a potential Cy Young Award candidate. As George said, you're dealing with bigger markets and bigger names with LA and some of the other teams. Arizona's got some great pitchers too. But I think he's definitely in the mix. And look, do I think he's a top 2 guy? No. Do I think he's a top 15 guy? Yes. I'll buy that. As his season, I think, is going to be a special one for him.
Fantasy sports today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, Smylie. It is
44 degrees.
It's almost midnight. And it's cold. It's probably 44. It feels like it's 44 degrees.
If you stuck around this long,
please.
We ain't done yet.
we were to the part of the show that many people are looking out for. All right, we are going to give you some picks for this first major of the year, okay? And we're going to bring back something that we actually did for the first time here last year.
We did do it last year.
In the T-Bones parking lot, except this year we're presented by the very company we use, DraftKings. We're really excited to have DraftKings on. So DraftKings, they're firing up the daily fantasy this year. I mean, they've had it going, but of course they got a special running this year for for playing contests starting this week with the first major of the year. So they're giving all customers a shot to play free for a $1 million top prize with your next $10 deposit.
Boom.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to run through our daily fantasy lineup, and we're going to also give you our one and done picks at the end of this, okay? And then hopefully you can go out and play a lineup similar to ours, maybe better than ours, win some cash in the process.
It's your account, big dog.
Yeah, it's my account.
Charlie shot at $1 million.
And I can really use some help if you guys. We had
drinks
some,
down.
We had some drinks down back there. All right, so here we go. We have $50,000 to spend. Smylie has the first one and done pick this week. So Smylie, you get to draft our first DFS player.
But
So
this isn't my one and done pick.
this is not yours. You're
Okay.
just helping me because I have spent all my money in my account.
Okay.
So
It's like
I'll press the button for you, and you tell me which way you want me to go.
Okay. I am going to go. I'm going to go. I got to talk into the mic here.
Talking to Mike Billy.
I'm going with Shane Lowry.
Okay.
Boom.
All right. So Shane Lowry, and let's go back to the lineup here. So Shane Lowry's price is $8,800. So that's slightly above the median amount of money you have for each of these players. You got a roster of 6 players, so you're not spending a ton of money there. So I like that. That's a good start. Shane Lowry on the board. Why do you love Shane this week?
Dude, Shane Lowry in a green jacket? Oh, come on. You know he's coming to T-Bones after.
That's the analysis. Shane Lowry, green jacket, going to T-Bones. He's playing good golf this year.
Dude, he's playing great.
Jax and I were picking up some food earlier this week, and he said to me, I got this feeling about Shane Lowry.
Why wouldn't you?
All right, green jacket, Shane Lowry. There you go. All right, that's our first pick. I'm gonna go with the next.
Is there any vetoes in this? I think we each get one veto. One veto.
It's like a hammer in TGL. I get to veto your pick. I'm gonna go with the guy at $8,300. So he's like actually right about median. Will Zalatoris. I just there's some we've talked about Will. He's played well here before. He obviously, since his best finish ever here, he's had to retool his swing, for his back. He's gone to that broomstick putter, but I just have a feeling that he's going to strike it well this week, and if the course is soft enough, it's gonna be a good week for Will Zalatoris.
Okay, coming at you hot, Patty Ice.
Patty Ice.
Are you going veto there?
Patty Ice at 8,700.
Are you mad about this?
Hey, he's been in the mix before in the last couple years.
Yes. Are you mad about this?
Well, sell me on him a little bit. Like, why do you want to use Patty here?
I just think that he's kind of been a little underrated this year. And when we talk about players that we're trying to build these things out. I mean, they're not exact. If you go Scotty, right, and then you got to find some value. I feel like right now with Cantlay and Shane, it's my two guys. Those are two players that definitely could win the Masters. And maybe just like a tier below those top guys we had talked about.
Well, I like that you're staying kind of median here because then it gives you flexibility to go get someone big and then fill out the back of the lineup, which is giving us a strong core. So I'm not going to veto that.
No veto.
So,
okay.
No veto. So you have Lowry and Cantlay in. I have Zalatoris in. I am going to take this opportunity to buy a high end player because I want to just throw in a horse, and I've just been telling you how much I love Collin Morikawa. He's $10,500 on DraftKings Daily Fantasy. He's going to be our horse. Now, we can add another horse, but we're going to have to bring down.
All right, so give me like the total and like what we have to work with.
So basically, our remaining we have 2 players left. We have $13,700 left, and it's actually we're beneath the kind of median price right now. It's $6,850 per player.
Okay.
So you can give me a bargain guy.
I'm gonna get Bernhard Wonger and then we can go get Scotty.
That would be the most diabolical daily fantasy lineup. And I love every moment of that.
Okay, I'm between
Scotty.
2 guys right now.
Okay.
I'm between Patrick Reed and Sepp Straka.
I like Sepp Straka.
All right, we're putting Sepp in there.
All right, so we got Sepp in here, and that means
what do you have to work with?
So Sepp was $7,600.
So what do you have to work with?
First of all, tell me a little bit about why you like Sepp this week.
Sepp he's playing fantastic this year. The metrics say that he should contend. He's made the cut both years he's played here. The ball striking, greens and regulation stat, that's the one that sticks out for me. I think he believes that he can contend in a major too.
All right, so that leaves me the last choice. And
How much you got left?
we have $6,100 left, which means that we're looking at Bubba Watson, Jose Ballester, Justin Hastings, Bernhard Longer.
Okay, we're gonna have to
do Longer for the bit.
So do you?
Should we remove some players?
All right, remove Cantlay.
Okay, we're taking Cantlay out.
Let's take Cantlay out.
All right, this is good. This is part of like how you build a lineup. We're workshopping. All right. So now we have 70.
So now you pick your player. It needs.
And you're gonna backfill for me?
Yes.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna go down. Jackson. Jackson really liked the idea.
We should have put Longer in there. That would have been such a great bit. Can you imagine the shot at $1 million and Longer is the one that comes through for you?
All right. Let me ask you this. Let me workshop this to you a little bit. Do you like Patrick Reed, Adam Scott, or Maverick McNeely more?
McNeely, dude.
I think it's McNeely. I like
but
McNeely.
It's first timer. That's the thing.
Dude,
if you could believe, if you were he's a top 10 player in the world.
He's cerebral beyond his years, dude.
All right, you're gonna throw Mav in there.
We're throwing Mav in there. We're throwing Mav in there.
All right, so I got 7,700 to work with.
Yeah, so like we're actually kind of good money now.
All right,
what do we got?
Dude, Wyndham Clark is just staring right at me.
How much do you have?
7,700, right on the nose.
Wow, I think we should do Wyndham.
Let's just take Wyndham. Let's be done with it.
Let's take Wyndham. I kind of love this lineup. So where it shook out was Wyndham Clark at 7,700, Shane Lowry at 8,800, Maverick McNeely at 7,100, Colin Morikawa at 10,500.
This team kind of slaps.
It kind of does. Sam Strong at 7,600 and Will Zalatoris at 8,300.
I love this team.
I might be back. I might be back on my daily fantasy grind. I love it too. I think this is, I'm saving this to my photos here so I have it. I love it.
Bada bing, bada boom.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, so I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
And that's what we got. So, okay, so we are not done talking DraftKings quite yet. I'm going to come back and tell you a little more about that daily fantasy contest. But now we've reached the point of the show where, Smylie, it's time to make our one-and-done picks for the Masters. The us suggesting players we like, that was supposed to be the vehicle, the daily fantasy lineup. That's what we're going to kind of do in the weeks going forward. But now we're just going to make one-and-done pick this week. You had the first pick. Who are you taking?
This is tough.
It's big.
It's
Big moment.
I got a lot of
start.
A lot of hard bets coming out right now. I'm between 4 guys. You ready to hear the 4?
Please.
I'm between 2 buddies, Jordan and JT. Couple heart bets.
Big heart bets.
I've already taken JT, so now that he's actually been eliminated because I've taken him.
You get broken.
So now it's down to 3 between Jordan, Bryson, Bryson, and there was one other player.
Is he near the top of the leaderboard?
Yeah, it was Rory.
Rory McIlroy. So let me just, while you kind of build up to this, Rory McIlroy plus 650.
I'm not taking your guy, so go ahead.
Plus 1900.
I'm not taking your guy.
No, I'm going to let you in Jordan Spieth 35 plus 3,500. So 35 to 1, 19 to 1, and 6.5 to 1 for the 3 guys in the mix. Who are you selecting?
I'm not taking Rory. Give me Bryson DeChambeau.
Wow. Oh, the mad scientist. Marking off heads on the range today.
Well, I'm just thinking about the majors and where I would take him. I don't want to take him at the Open. I don't want to take him at Quail because I think I'm going to take Rory at Quail if it lines up perfectly. And U.S. Open, I don't want to take him there either. So I'm going to take Bryson at the Masters. It could hit. It may not hit. Let's roll with Bryson.
Let's hope he gets that head dialed in. I'm hoping for your sake and for Bryce's sake that he gets that dialed in. I'm going to take. I mean, I've teased it all show long. It's got to be Collin Morikawa. I just think he's. Despite the fact that you suggest that no one can be due here, I think he's due. He's going off a 17 to 1 on DraftKings Sportsbook. I think Collin has played too good of golf for too long. And I think ultimately we're going to look back at this and be like, the Bay Hill loss was tough and it was inflammatory in the media, but it was just that one last kick in the seat of the pants. He talked about, he's like, I play my best when I show up a minute before my tee time. I'm fight or flight. I'm heightened. I'm like, I think he's in a sort of fight or flight state right now. And I think he's going to tear it up this week. And just
I love Collin this week. And if you didn't already send the message, I just didn't want to. I don't think you had a backup plan, so I wasn't going to take that from you. And so here I am with Bryson. I came into the day never even thinking about taking Bryson, but here I am. So let's see how it works.
Those are the one and done picks. Bryson DeChambeau, Collin Morikawa. We gave you the odds here on DraftKings Sportsbook for them to win outright. And then, of course, we gave you the DraftKings DFS lineup. So here's what you're going to do, all right? We need you to download the DraftKings app and use the code all caps Smylie Show, SMYLIESHOW, to play free for a shot at a $1 million top prize with just a $10 deposit. That's code Smylie Show for all DraftKings customers. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 18 and over in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. New customers only. Minimum $10 deposit required. One single-use $10 ticket rewarded for Fantasy Golf Millionaire Contest that expires on April 10th at 7 a.m. See terms at DraftKings.com/promotions.
All right, Smylie, we've given out some picks. We know who we like for the Masters. It's super, super cold in this parking lot. I think we might have pneumonia.
You want something to warm up your bones?
I could really use something to warm up
Maybe
my bones.
something to warm up your T-bones?
Yeah, I would love to see my T-bones warmed up a little bit.
Well, what do we have here? What do we? That's the Tommy Fries.
Tommy Fries, okay.
Oh my goodness.
Or the lobster tail, the baked potato.
All right, so y'all got this 8-ounce filet Oscar with 2 asparagus spears, lump crab meat, béarnaise sauce with a loaded mashed potato. It's our signature appetizer, the Tommy Fry right here. And then that's a 22-ounce certified Angus beef porterhouse with a 6-ounce cold water lobster tail.
Ladies and gentlemen, does it get any better than this? This is the type of service and delicious food you get at T-Bones in Augusta, Georgia.
Thank you.
We appreciate y'all. Y'all to come eat here. We're going to shut the show down, and we're going to enjoy this good food here. And big thanks again to the good people at T-Bones for hosting us. Year 2 in Augusta, Georgia.
I am buttered up for the 2025 Masters. Let's go, baby.
Let's dig in. Talk to y'all soon.